Hi, I'm Andrew Cain, politics editor at the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Happy Election Day. With me are politics reporters Dave Ress and Charlotte Rene Woods. We're going to talk about some of our first impressions about what we're hearing from voters out at the polls, the registrars, and then we're going to talk about how we're going to need to be a little patient as everybody awaits the results tonight. So, Dave, what are you hearing in some of your initial calls around the state?
Well, you know, the big thing to sort of start with is an off-off, or should I say off-off-off year legislative election in Virginia is always a really low turnout. I think in 2019 it was 50%-ish. So adding to the complication, though, is that this is the first time this kind of election in Virginia has early voting. So we've had a lot of early voting. I think more than 700,000 ballots statewide, not as many as when the gubernatorial was heading in 21. But it makes it, as my friend Walt Latham down the registrar in York County says, it's really hard to tell what's normal anymore. But down in York County, which is a kind of a key area because they're largely Republican districts, precincts that were added to an essentially Democratic state Senate race that is now possibly the tightest in the state. What he's seeing is fairly steady, fairly normal-looking election day turnout, which when you add it with the early votes probably means something higher than what we had in the past. On the other hand, up in Loudoun County, which is another hot race with Russell Perry and Juan Segura, they got about 24% turnout as of mid-morning when you add in the early plus the votes today. They're headed for, they think, slightly higher than the 44% turnout they had in 2019 off year election. And finally, a little bit of a hint from Petersburg. It sounds like there's about, as of kind of the start of the working day, about 3,000 people voting. That compares with a total that voted in the 2021 gubernatorial election of about 8,000. So all it adds up to, I think, despite an awful lot of money getting spent on these competitive races, there's not been an explosion of turnout, but there is going to be more turnout.
Charlotte, one of the interesting issues in Richmond, where you and I live, is the casino at my precinct, which is at Forest Hill Presbyterian Church on South Side. We have only 2 legislative elections on the ballot, and both those legislators are unopposed, and yet they're calling for more ballots to come to the precinct because so many folks are coming out to vote on the casino issue. They had about 668 votes cast shortly before 11 o'clock, which is about 18% of the precinct's total, but now the registrar is going to send 300 additional ballots, upping their allotment to about 1,650, and anecdotally, a number of folks said that they're going to vote against the casino in that precinct. But Charlotte, the casino is sort of a mixed bag in Richmond, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's opposition all over the place, especially from people who don't live on the South Side, but it's sort of a mixed bag in the South Side. Some of my neighbors have signs up in their yard. Some of my neighbors have been very much telling me, no, 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 I am so excited to vote this thing down again. So yeah, the South Side, which is inevitably going to be the most affected for better or worse by the casino. So I think that's definitely a mixed bag. And to Dave's point, yeah, almost 800,000 in an off year compared to 1.2 million in a gubernatorial election of voting early. And both parties have been aggressively pushing and putting a lot of money into canvassing, ads, promoting early voting. So I think it's important to remember this is election day, but it's also election week. It's going to take time. There's also been voter roll issues. And also anyone who has provisional ballots or same day registration, it's going to take longer to vet those ballots and count them.
To Charlotte's point, it looks like we're going to have to be patient tonight in awaiting these eagerly anticipated results.
Yeah. Mechanically, if you go to the State Department of Elections website, in the past you would see precinct by precinct totals, so you could say this many precincts were reporting. They're not doing that this year. You can get a sense if any numbers do come up about whether they're just same day or early voting by clicking in, but I think the end result is going to be we're going to know consolidated results from localities when the consolidated results are all counted, whether we're going to know precinct by precinct, whether we're going to know how the absentees get factored in. I'm expecting a late night tonight.
So that means that we might not know right away the answer to the big question, which is which party will control the House, which party will control the Senate, and what that'll mean for Governor Youngkin. So there's a lot at stake tonight. So I want to thank Charlotte Rene Woods and Dave Ress for joining me, and we invite all of you to continue following our coverage late into the night and early tomorrow morning on Richmond.com.